Hey, welcome everybody. Technology is happening this morning in Empowered Soul Network, but it's working. Happy Monday to you. Hope you all had a good Easter holiday, however you celebrated that, and the week coming up with some of the other cultural celebrations of this time of year. So great to have you here this morning. And I'm excited to be with Eszter Jagica. I think I've got that right.
Yes.
Close enough anyway. She's calling in from Toronto, and we're going to have a wonderful conversation today. She's a consciousness teacher and is building that into helping children and all kinds of other folks that are looking for that higher state of awareness, yet making it very practical and down to earth. So we're going to talk about all about that today. Welcome, Esther.
Thank you, Paul, for having me. And thank you for actually having this platform because we need these lighthouses nowadays, I guess.
Beautiful. Well, take us on a little bit of your journey. What has been inspiring you of late? What are you passionate about just inside the heart?
Just simply, I'm passionate about just being of service, like really simply. And that leads us to interesting places. I used to be an academic and studying or doing my PhD at the University of Toronto and traveling the world also as a performance artist. I did political performance art all over the world, and that kind of led me to this cul-de-sac, like um, a place where I wasn't feeling happy. And the more I was digging myself into post-structuralist theory, I was feeling like this does not make any sense. My life force energy was not there, and I felt really old, and I was in my 20 late 20s. And then, I mean, all along since I was 17, I was reading the Vedic scriptures. It was my blood. I read them. It felt like I have a deep remembrance, but then, life happens, and we need to kind of experience the Maya, the illusion, and then it starts pulling you. And then finally, um, I was more and more drawn to, or maybe I was ready to have a teacher, and I had one. And he opened me to my multidimensional awareness. And you can call that through Kundalini Shakti. And when you are ready, it happens. And then I would say that was in my early 40s, 40, I was 40. And then since then, it was just an integration period of really bringing the knowing of your light into this vessel. And how is that manifested? How do you walk your talk? And that's what's been happening.
Well, that's beautiful. What were some of the things that were challenging to you that led you to that search or that deeper reading? Because I think a lot of people who listen to this, they find hope in hearing what other people been through,
Yes.
that help them to open up and awaken to things. So what was happening before you found that awakening? You mentioned the, being a performance artist and it just kind of wasn't real. What were the feelings like for that?
I guess it's that journey because once you truly awaken, everything makes perfect sense. Like even the senselessness prior to that makes sense. But yes, I felt since I was a very small child that I really hated to be on Earth,
Hmm.
and I was struggling. I felt this suffering, and the suffering was just immense. And that's what led me to research. It led me to how to get out of suffering, obviously. And and I think it was that very strong pull of my soul that kind of wanted to make me find the home back home. And the home is everywhere and nowhere, obviously. But the refinement has to happen through the journey. And yes, I was going through many, many obstacles, all kinds of problems, health problems, And I really didn't like this immigration process that my parents made me undergo. So from that, I became a vagabond. I literally traveled for the past 20 years, not finding my place anywhere. But then you find your place inside yourself.
What were, Esther, what were some of the things that as you were traveling, what were you learning as you went to different countries or cultures, or how was that impacting you?
I think when I look back,
Yeah.
I feel like I was walking through places of remembrance. Like these were cultures, places, people that I had a very deep relationship to. I speak 5 languages, so I really feel like I was walking in this world and I felt really like a sadhu. You know what's a sadhu? Like um it's like a traveling holy man, who has
Hmm.
nothing and feels fine wherever they went. And that gave me a sense of elation. It also came from the ego because I was just interested in novelty, but at the same time it was teaching me about how to deal with new circumstances very fast. And I met people who would actually be helping me on my journey later on. So it's like the story of the alchemist, of Jose, in yeah, in that novel. So yes, I find that traveling is so very important. I would urge all of your younger listeners and older listeners to travel, to connect, to actually, in Taoism, it is actually asked of you not to repeat, not to live mechanically. And when you travel, that really opens you up to actually dealing with who you truly are in that moment, and be open to it. Because I didn't travel in luxury, I was traveling like a vagabond.
So, and that's a great point with the newness and freshness and how we learn and grow and so on. What are you seeing lately in the clients that you have or the people that you teach or interact with? What do you see, or how would you define some of their struggles that you see, and some of the awakening points that they have?
Beautiful question. Now, I would preface this by saying that every single person who I work with, whether on a one-on-one basis or in a group setting, is a reflection of me. Like all all of the obstacles I've had, I see, them meeting, and that kind of gives me the sense of the human plight. And it's okay. It's fine. We're there. And then once maybe I made 2 steps in front of them, that's fine, and they'll be fine. So what I feel is that right now every single human is brought to this choice point of that old, the 3D old doesn't work anymore. But a lot of them are really scared of this really incessant call of their being to to kind of come and join the heart and just be the truth. And I think this channel of yours and many others are the channels that are propagating sovereignty, human sovereignty. Because what we do when we just rely on our intellect, we're just living in programming, what we've been told. And when you get to a certain age, you already know that you lack life force, you lack curiosity, you lack sexual vibrancy and virility, and we don't need to lack that. And what I find, they're really, obviously the work, as you're also doing a similar work, is how to actually show, but I do this energetically, an alternative to their ingrained modalities of being, and that is the programming. where you start feeling, oh, this is not just the body. This is a divine instrument. And as you can plug into the layering of your reality, life becomes life. Because when you live from your mind, it's like you're so far removed from reality that you're not really there.
Mhm.
You're not in your
So,
own life. Yes.
right.
Mm.
So someone has taken a class or taken a session with you, and it's their first session, and they walk out of the session. What are they thinking about and feeling the rest of the day?
I meet
That
many
first session.
first session. I meet many people, and they're on a different levels of their evolution. And let's say I'm going to choose somebody who's never really did
Good.
much work. That's a good
Good.
one.
Yeah.
And this woman came, and she was so she was just deeply, deeply suffering gravely. And the very first thing she said, I mean, a lot of people cry because they
Mhm.
meet their own soul. And then she says, you know what? I don't believe in any of this, but I know what I feel in my heart. And I'm like, you should not believe in anything. It is an existential embodiment because yogic sciences always say it's a subjective evolution. You do not believe. You are a scientist who is exploring the self within, yes? And true yogis, true embodied yogis can really, allow people to feel that. And then what they walk out, and a lot of them, let's say those who meditate, they would say, I'm so bad. Meditation is such a torture for me. And then when I show them, it's like I always say, it's like going to the gym. When you entrain with somebody who embodies their self, and they train with you, they just recognize it. It's that simple. And then their recognition just goes on. It's like giving you the flame, you give it to somebody else, and this is the evolution.
And so take it down a few steps. What do you see in people that have become good practitioners, good seasoned veterans of
Yeah, yeah.
your work and so on? What do you see them walk out as a piece of their evolution? How are they feeling? They've done it a lot. How are they evolving or feeling? What do you see there?
So I would like this to be heard in the world, and please, I would urge all of us to do this. We start co-creating. We start, because I usually connect to their higher self or soul, and then we start co-creating and creating these new ways of helping together. Like I have a client with whom now I'm going to be walking the native land, and allowing the body to connect to the land, and the land to heal the body, and the body to heal the land. And so this came through also their own work on themselves, so that we came together, and we were made to make this next step. And I think this is the purpose of us working all together. And then we can co create. And the purpose of this work essentially is to finally for you to hear your own inner guru, your inner teacher, which teaches you that you're not the doer. Everything is being done through you. And this is being taught by ancient traditions. And to tell you honestly, I was very much ingrained in Vedic philosophy for very, very many years, the Advaita Vedanta streak. And it helped me so much. But I also feel like at this day and age, we need to also just bring forth from a pure place our own sovereign embodiment. No longer being so rigidly connected to the scripture. Yes, scripture helps, but essentially it's our own embodiment because we are the ones walking this earth right now at this time.
So, so one of the things that I love to ask for people that are coaches in this and so on is how does a person take what they've experienced in that session or that walk or whatever and adapt that or take that into their workplace or where there's chaos, where the opposite is happening. How do they maintain or sustain that feeling in that moment in front of that cranky coworker or what have you? How do you help them? What do you tell them?
And that is the essential question. How do you walk your talk? I just gave a transmission on Sunday, and that was our
Hmm.
inquiry. And there's a long way to answer this question and a shorter way. I'll try the shorter way. So essentially, what we are doing is we are recognizing that we're not this limited body, we're not this limited personality. We notice how unbearably we are seduced by our limited personality and the nuances of our ego. The ego is not bad, but it's usually this unbridled, grumpy
Hmm.
child. And the more we work, and the more we can embody the light of the soul, then that embodiment of your light in this vessel acts through you. It's not woo woo, it is a science.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it acts through you, and thus it already teaches you how to have a much more nuanced perception of the now. The now
Yeah.
means that you have this multi-dimensional and beyond dimensional awareness, which is a loving awareness that is there at all times. So whether your child screaming, like I've been put into a situation where I taught at university, and then
Hmm.
I left all that and then started teaching in an alternative elementary school with the screaming children, and I'm just used to people wanting to learn at university, but they don't want to learn, which is great. Great. I love their rebelliousness, but that really caused me a lot of distress. So, how do you still embody that purity? How do you stay in your sovereignty? And that takes a lot of humility, so much humility, and so much. You need so much willpower, but of the soul to truly bring through the love that you came here to share. There is no easy answer to this.
Sometimes it might be just, I've had people say, well, one of the first things, just take a deep breath. Take a
Yeah,
breath.
yeah.
Go to the restroom. You do a centering, then come back out, and then you approach that cranky person from a different perspective because I'm more relaxed. Or that's what I hear you saying is you have to take whatever it is that I've learned and do something with that in the middle of that situation that maybe tense or oppressive or whatever that is.
Okay, well, so from a more practical level, when you embody light, the light is emanating,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that gives you that presence and love. And that in itself is remodeling your sense of reality automatically. Okay, but that's kind of the more
Hmm.
advanced stage. Let's say you're nowhere, and let's say you're triggered every single second. And all you can do in that moment is to come back, feel your body, feel how triggered you are, feel how you want to strangle your boss, or feel how you want to lash out on your children. But even when you allow life to really penetrate you that way, you see, this is our problem, humanity's problem, that we do not allow to be penetrated by life, because life's penetrating you willy-nilly. You have to accept that. And so when you become that site where you're just here and you allow everything to take place exactly the way it is. And notice this. This is a very nice kind of gist that maybe I can leave with your listeners, that notice the mind constantly functions by trying to avoid something that is negative and pull in something that we desire. So it's like aversion and attraction, aversion, attraction. I hope this happens. I hope this doesn't happen. Yes. And we are constantly ping ponging between these notions. And I've noticed that this is the greatest pull of Maya, of illusion. And okay, look at it. You're playing this game, you're ping ponging, but notice. First, notice. And then, second, notice how that feels in your body, this constant ping ponging. I want this. I hate this. Yes, no, yes, no. And then you can just die and never get out of this ping pong game.
Well, beautiful. I mean, some of these things are just so practical and useful, and being able to take that into whatever environment I'm in, whatever relationship I'm in, that's all the growth of life on planet Earth, right?
And our incessant need to control everything and make it the way we want it. And one of the most the hardest things on this path is fully to embody surrender to life.
Beautiful, beautiful. Esther, this is just an amazing conversation. We could talk for hours here.
I know.
How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, they can just look at my name and then find me on Facebook, and I have a private group. I can put you in there, and my website is in the making because I used to be an academic and a teacher, and this work was, what I set out in the universe, that if I'm meant to serve, then people will find me, and they are finding me.
The laws of attraction work. Yeah,
Exactly.
so man, and Esther, make sure you do put that information in the comments
I will.
underneath the video, and stick around for just a minute and I'll show you more about what's happening in Empowered Soul Network. And thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
today. It's
Thank you so
beautiful
much. I'm much
hearing your heart.
obliged.
Yes, very good. And Empowered Soul Network, stay tuned. We got lots more things happening this week. You guys have a wonderful day. Be that light that Ezra was talking about and enjoy your week. Have a great one. See you soon. Thank you, Esther.
Thank you.